Mr. Chomsky's work is like a precision laser, whittling down the cumbersome ideologies indoctrinated into the social psyche, exposing and condemning their flawed underbellies. A true renegade, Professor Chomsky has remained one of the most celebrated and highly demanded voices of revolution since he first took a stance in the 60s. Although relentlessly sought after by international media sources, he is often criticized at home in the U.S. Most widely recognized for his groundbreaking contributions in the field of linguistics, undergrads cannot take a course in evolutionary psychology, computer science, or international politics without encountering the works of Professor Chomsky. His tall intellect is conditioned with a social consciousness that gives purpose and depth to his works. His flame has been igniting minds and hearts for decades, especially at his beloved school of MIT, where he has taught for the past 53 years. His wisdom is adorned with experience and professed with clarity. Above all else, his individuality is marked by his unique positions, for he has never allowed anybody to put him in a box. Refusing to reside along the established plane of party politics, he has added a dimension to the otherwise horizontal political spectrum. He has taught to dispel preconceived notions, ignore propagandistic headlines, tune out sound bites, fight off your self-serving tendencies, and instead of sharpening differences between one another, recognize the commonalities of man and the potential for justice and peace that exists within each being. He has taught to question everything about your reality, to criticize and debate those in power, to find a more human response to the challenges posed by globalization. His ability to think in different modes has allowed for life-changing revelations and has inspired my thinking, and it is my hope that you all be inspired as well. The future that is at stake is our own, and I believe with intelligent reasoning and original thought, the answers to all these questions can be discovered. So, without further ado, I am honored to introduce to you the brilliant author, empowered lecturer, multi-talented, adoring father, and doting husband. He's received honorary degrees from over 24 of the top universities on the planet. He has been called by the New York Times arguably the most important intellectual alive, and he is among the eight most cited scholars in history. I could go on for hours about all his credentials, literally. But ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Professor Noam Chomsky.
I don't anticipate living up to that, but I'll try. I've been asked to talk about modern-day American imperialism. That's a rather challenging task. In fact, talking about American imperialism is a little bit like talking about triangular triangles. The United States is the one country that exists, as far as I know, and ever has, that was founded as an empire explicitly. According to the Founding Fathers, when the country was founded, it was a nascent empire. That's George Washington. Modern-day American imperialism is just a later phase of a process that has continued from the first moment without a break, going in a very steady line. So we're looking at one phase in a process that was initiated when the country was founded and has never changed. The model for the Founding Fathers, borrowed from Britain at that time, was the Roman Empire. And they wanted to emulate it. I'll talk about that a little. Even before the Revolution, these notions were very much alive. Benjamin Franklin, 25 years before the Revolution, complained to the British that they were imposing limits on the expansion of the colonies. And he objected to this. He, borrowing from Machiavelli, he admonished the British, and quoting him, that a prince that acquires new territories and removes the natives to give his people room will be remembered as the father of the nation. And George Washington agreed. He wanted to be the father of the nation. His view was that the gradual extension of our settlement will as certainly cause the savage as the wolf to retire, both being beasts of prey, though they differ in shape. I'll skip some contemporary analogs that you can think of. Thomas Jefferson, the most forthcoming of the founding fathers, said, "We shall drive them, the savages, we shall drive them with the beasts of the forests into the stony mountains, and the country will ultimately be free of blot or mixture," meaning red or black. Wasn't quite achieved, but that was the goal. Furthermore, Jefferson went on, our new nation will be the nest from which all America, north and south, is to be peopled, displacing not only the red men here, but the Spanish-speaking population to the south and anyone else who happened to be around. There was a deterrent to those glorious aims, mainly Britain. Britain was the most powerful military force in the world at the time, and it did prevent the steps that the founding fathers attempted to take. In particular, it blocked the invasion of Canada. The first attempted invasion of Canada was before the Revolution, and there were several others later, but it was always blocked by British force, which is why Canada exists. The United States did not actually recognize Canada's existence until after the First World War. Another goal that was blocked by British force was Cuba. The founding fathers regarded the taking over of Cuba as essential to the survival of the nascent empire. But the British fleet was in the way, and they were too powerful, just like the Russians blocked John F. Kennedy's invasions. However, they understood that it would, sooner or later, would come. The great grand strategist, John Quincy Adams, the sort of intellectual father of manifest destiny, he pointed out in the 1820s that we just have to wait. They said Cuba will sooner or later fall into our hands by the laws of political gravitation, just as an apple falls from the tree. What he meant is that over time the United States would become more powerful, Britain would become weaker, and the deterrent would be overcome, which in fact finally happened. And we should not ignore these early events. They are very much related to current history. That's made very clear by scholarship on current affairs. So the major scholarly work on the Bush Doctrine, George W. Bush Doctrine, the preemptive war doctrine, major work is by John Lewis Gaddis, who's the most respected historian of the Cold War period. It's on the roots of the Bush Doctrine. And he traces it right back to John Quincy Adams, who is his hero, the great grand strategist, in particular to Andrew Jackson's invasion of Florida, which conquered Florida from the Spanish. And that was strongly approved by then Secretary of State Adams in a famous state paper in which he advocated the principle of preemptive war on the basis of the thesis that expansion is the path to security. So if we want to be secure, after all, we want to defend ourselves, we have to expand. At that time, expand into Florida. We were being threatened by what were called runaway slaves and lawless Indians who were in the way. They were threatening us by their existence, by barring our expansion. And as Gaddis points out, there's a straight line from that to George Bush. And now expansion is the path to security. It means we take over the world, we take over space, take over the galaxy. There's no limit to how much you have to expand to guarantee security. And that's been the principle from the beginning.